According to Statistics Canada third tranche of data from 2011 census, family can mean almost anything at all in this country based on families and their living arrangements. Statistics Canada defined a family as a couple with or without children, married or common law, or a lone parent with at least one child in the same house. In other words, it takes at least two people to make a family. Beyond that, almost anything goes. CBC 2012. Genogram, a family tree diagram that represents the names, birth order, sex, and relationships of the members of a family. Therapists use genograms to detect recurrent patterns in the family history and to help the members understand their problems. Gale Encyclopedia of Medicine, 2008. ECHOMAP. Dr. Anne Hartman, 1975, created ECHOMAP, or a diagram to be used by nurses or social worker to describe the social or personal relationship of an individual or family with his or her environment. By Scarnato J.M. 2019.
Hi guys, I'm Nurse Erica and I'm assigned to work with the Hoffman family. Welcome to the family of Anna and Alexander. A family from Germany migrated to Canada 10 years ago. Anna was diagnosed of dementia 5 years ago and not totally involved with all the family business matter because of her condition. Alexander was partly involved in the family company, which mainly sell machine company. But all due to his heart condition, he had to give up the company and let the children manage it.
Nurse Erica will help them by a process called Family Nursing Process. This is a systematic method to assist families in developing and strengthening their capacity to fulfill their health requirements and solve health problems. There are 5 steps. These are assessment, planning, implementation, and evaluation. For assessment, Nurse Erica may do the following genogram ECHOMAP interview asking therapeutic questions and psychosocial consideration. How is your ECHOMAP and genogram, Nurse Erica?
The genogram of the family of Anna, 90, and Alexander, 86, an immigrant from Germany who have 4 children, namely Anne, 63, Friedrich, 60, Johanna, 55, and Emma, 54. Anne is married and have 4 children, namely Bill, 40, Sophie, 38, Adele, 37, and Erica, 12, when she passes away because of leukemia. Friedrich was a divorce and had son named Richie, 25. Johanna was married and have 4 children as well, namely Joanna, 25, Giselle, 24, Dorothea, 21, and Lucas, 19. Emma has 3 children, namely Felicity, 23, Lusa, 21, and Dirk, 19. Anne and Alexander had a great-grandchild from Bill, namely Godfrey, 4, and Eloisa, 2, from Sophie. They had one named Clarissa, 3, and from Adele was 6 months old, and the gender was still in health. The first generation, Anna, 90, and Alexander, 86, are having a stressful relationship in response to their present health condition, which is dementia for Anna and heart failure for Alexander. The second generation are all having a high level of stress now because of their family crisis that leads to depression. For the third generation, we identified pregnancy for Adele's case, who happens to be 6 months pregnant, and stressed the rest of the grandchildren because they all are currently in their university. Another factor that has a stressful relationship with the family is their housing. The decision of moving Anna and Alexander to facility caused the family high stress due resources and emotional impact of the decision. Another factor that causes them stress is work. Due to illegal activities of the company and pandemic, the business faced bankruptcy. Another that causes stress for the family. 2015, in doing assessment to the family to develop a real, trustworthy, and respectful partnership. Establish a therapeutic connection with the individual by employing verbal and nonverbal communication methods. Listen and seek insight into the whole person to get an understanding of the significance of health to the person and to learn their preferences for treatment.
I believe part of assessment is asking questions to the member of the family. Could you share 5 therapeutic questions you asked to the family?
Question 1. Are you as a family ready and comfortable with our scheduled meeting and settings, or any concern you would like to address to us before we start with this session? This is to assess the family readiness, hesitations, concerns, and give and respect the family time, readiness to disclose information and discuss sensitive topics or information, as well as their readiness to move forward and level of comfort with the interview and discussion. Question 2. How have you been as a family after your mother's diagnosis of dementia, your father's heart failure, and the present crisis you as a family are facing right now? This is to assess the status of each member of the family and confirm the family assessment. It can also be used to gather more information about the feelings and how they understand and cope with their mother's diagnosis, dad's present medical condition, and the family present condition. Question 3. As a family, especially you, Anne, have been you feeling stressed out as a caregiver? How about the rest of the siblings? These is to assess the family perception and encourage expression to identify the weakness of the family, as well as to see the potential in each member of the family to assume roles and responsibility. Question 4. To all of you, what do you think are the strengths and weaknesses of the family? To identify the potential factors that may help or affect the family in a positive and negative way, as well as to identify what available resources they already have as family. This will also help the family assess the problem and establish priorities. Question 5. Among the identified family problems, what is the topmost priority of your family? This is to help facilitate the family in making a solution in accordance to what matters the most to them. Having priorities will help the nurse to navigate the hopes and dreams, expectations, and wants, both immediate psychosocial considerations. Every component of care is underpinned by communication, which also serves as a channel for psychological aspects of care. Unmet communication requirements of persons with life-threatening diseases and their caregivers might jeopardize care coordination and impair the delivery of important information and subsequent decision-making. To provide care for the psychosocial aspects of the family, as a nurse may consider referring them to a social worker.
After assessment, Nurse Erica will identify the existing problems in the family. There are 5 problems identified. 1. Dementia as health deficit. 2. Heart failure as health deficit. 3. Stress-provoking factors specified as caregiving burden, conflict between family members, and inappropriate role assumption. 4. Limited financial resources. 5. Pregnancy. The priority problem is stress-provoking factors specified as caregiving burden, conflict between family members, and inappropriate role assumption is the priority problem for this family because its health threats need immediate action, partially modifiable because the family have lack or inadequate knowledge about the community resources, moderate preventive potential, and perceived as serious problem need immediate attention with the actual score of 2.9.
That can offer to this family in these situations. Family members may need to be evaluated to identify their own needs for education, supports, and resources, as well as reassess if the person's dementia progresses or the caregiver's health and mental well-being deteriorates. We would recommend to the family to seek help from a social worker. Families can be referred to community service such as Alzheimer's associations by a social worker. The primary caregiver's experience of stress, anxiety, and sadness of taking care of the demented mother. I would discuss to the family of the importance of communicating feelings with someone, such as doctor or staff members of Alzheimer's Society. Given that the family considered transferring them to a care facility, we would recommend to the family the continuity of care from them. They can still be part of the care. For example, to advocate the needs of the patients of the patient language when revert to German, they can interpret it to the staff so they are aware of the patient's needs. The family may experience feelings of guilt for deciding to move their parents to the care facility. To lessen this feeling, we would suggest the family to reach out to support groups or caregiver groups whom they can share their feelings with. The experience from the other caregivers will help them realize that the decisions they make is not selfish decisions, but it's a decisions for the good of their parents. Due to the financial issue the family is facing, we recommend the family to contact the to the Local Health Integrations Network, or LHIN.
Hi, my name is Erica. I am one of the registered nurse in charge in your case. Everyone seems really distressed. Anyone can tell me what is bothering them.
Just so you know, our mom suffered from dementia the last 5 years ago. Recently, it has begun to be difficult for us to manage her.
I can understand how it could be challenging for everyone to cope in this kind of situation, and it is a reasonable reaction too. According to the file, Anne, you were the primary caregiver for your mom and dad.
I did. They lived with us at home for some quiet of time after selling our parents' house. We do not really want them to transfer to a care facility, and our dad begged us not to do so. However, I suffered anxiety and depression because I cannot give enough or provide them the possible best care they need. I'd also neglected the needs of my own family.
I perfectly understand the feeling. Something I could do is that I will recommend you to a social worker. This social worker will introduce you to the community services like Alzheimer's Association, which can help each one of you the need for education, support and resources, and will reassess your health and mental well-being. I hear that you suffered from anxiety and depression from taking care of your parents' needs, so it is best to talk about this feeling with someone. I would refer you for a counselor or one of the staff members from Alzheimer's Society can help you.
I know from the start that my parents would not like to go into home care, but we put them anyway, and I feel bad about that.
I perfectly understand the feeling. Something I could do is that I will recommend you to a social worker. This social worker will introduce you to the community services like Alzheimer's Association, which can help each one of you the need for education, support and resources, and will reassess your health and mental well-being.
I felt that my other siblings blame me why my parents end up in the facility of care. How could I convince them that it is not my fault at all? I just want the best for all of us.
I do understand your concern. I would recommend the family members to join a support group for dementia caregivers. You can share the experience in the group. Also, you can learn from the experience of another caregiver. This would help you and your other siblings that the decision that you just made is not a selfish decision, yet a best solution for everyone.
One thing which I find is long-term care quite expensive. We don't have much savings left, and the money we got from the house we sold is not enough to cover all expenses.
I would suggest contacting the Local Health Integration Network, LHIN. If you meet the qualifying requirements, there is no cost for any professional, personal assistance, or homemaking service offered by LHIN. If you are not qualified for a program, your LHIN might refer you to a community support agency that charges a fee.
That sounds good.
Do you have any more concerns?
No, you help us a lot. And now I have a clear idea on how to manage our situation to some extent.
Thank you for taking the time to share your concerns with me. In any case, I am delighted to assist you with my responses. So if you have any questions after leaving here, please call me at the number shown in our elderly care facilities brochure.
Family Nursing Care Plan.
The priority health problem of the family is dementia. The identified family nursing problems for dementia as health deficit is inability to make decisions with respect to taking appropriate health action due. It is failure to comprehend the nature of the problem. Conflicting opinions among family members / significant others regarding action to take. Lack of inadequate knowledge of community resources of care are the following. After nursing intervention, the family 1. Would be able to verbalize understanding of the nature of the disease, which include the stages of dementia and corresponding management in each stage. 2. Would be able to identify different resources that can be found in the community. 3. Would be able to list down the suggested opinions that fully agreed by all the members. Nursing interventions are 1. Assess the knowledge of the family regarding the disease process and expectation of disease progression. Obviously, the family have the knowledge about the disease that they may acquire from internet or from others. Assessment establishes baseline data from which to build or determine need to alter misconceptions. 2. Encourage verbalization of family concern and their learning needs. Rationale, it promotes the family engagement in the nursing care. 3. Assist family in identifying family strengths and resources. Rationale, This helps to enhance self-confidence. To lay an outline of the family resources available will give them more strengths. 4. Provide the family and hand out in simple language about the disease and the list of the resources available in the community. Rationale. This will help equip the patient with more knowledge and enable them to make appropriate decisions about the management. The second identified problem is heart failure. Nursing problem under heart failure as health deficit problem is inability to provide adequate nursing care to the sick member of the family due to lack of inadequate knowledge about the disease/health condition, nature, severity, complications, prognosis, and management. Inadequate family resources of care. Specifically, the objectives of the care are the following. After nursing intervention, the family 1. Be knowledgeable about the disease process, its possible complications, so they could have the care needed accordingly. 2. Would be able to submit application for financial support available. The nursing interventions are 1. Explain to the patients as well as to other family members about heart failure, its nature, complications, and independent care management, for them to know what appropriate action to take. Rationale. Providing the necessary information to understand the disease will lessen their anxiety in taking what course or step to take in providing care. 2. Let them have pamphlets or written materials that contain details about the disease and its management and discuss it the patients and other family members. Rationale. This will help equip the patient with more knowledge and enable them to make appropriate decisions about the management. 3. Refer the family to a social worker that provide them information about the community resources that will help them in their financial issues. Rationale. Referring the family to social worker will link them to the best possible resources available in the community. The third identified priority problem is family nursing problems under stress are stress-provoking factors specified as 1. Caregiving burden. 2. Interpersonal conflict between family members. 2. Inappropriate roles assumption as evidenced by Friedrich taking over her dad's role and Anne taking over her role. Of the care is after 24 hours of nursing intervention, family members will be able to verbalize the objectives of the care are the following. After nursing intervention, the family will have access to support groups. Family member will identify their own coping mechanisms/patterns. Will establish trusting relationship among.
The nursing interventions are: after nursing intervention, the family will have the access to support groups. Family member will identify their own coping mechanism/patterns. Will establish trusting relationship among family members.